All right. Howdy, howdy. This is Andy and Devin Lee with Family History Fanatics, and we had a few little technical glitches as we got going. So the first thing we need to find out is if our sound check. So we need to have a sound check. So everybody tell us if you can hear us okay. And then we'll make sure everything's working as we're going through. Hello, Stacy from Ohio, and Bob is overcast in California. Red Role Plays is from Australia. Welcome. I think you're a newbie. Hearing good. Awesome. Good. I love it. Always love to hear those comments. If you're a first timer, go ahead and drop in the comments that you are a first timer here so we can welcome you. We have a number of people who are regulars, and we love having you guys join us. Louise, you are one of our regulars. Welcome to you. And if I haven't greeted you, I do apologize. Beautiful day in Iowa. I miss Iowa. I don't miss the winters, but I miss Iowa. And then Oregon and Seattle and Georgia. Lived in Boston. First time. Hello. Is it Karen or Corinne? There's multiple ways to say that. Mary is a first timer. Welcome to you. Melissa, welcome. Sweltering Houston. I don't miss sweltering Houston. I love living in Los Alamos with the nicer weather.
Except it is humid today.
Is it?
It is. I know, because I'm sweating outside as I'm trying to do my stuff. I gotta see what the humidity is. I'm considering humid right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And it might rain today too. It's not supposed to.
I think Debbie, you just slipped in. Where are you, Debbie? You're from Seattle. Welcome. So glad that all of you are here. Okay. So while he's checking the weather.
Yeah, we're at like 50% humidity.
Oh, wow. That's pretty
awful.
For us. It's pretty sad. Oh, England is boiling hot. You wouldn't expect that in England, would you? I don't know. You're too north.
So here's the confusing thing to me about Europe in general. So if you look at the map of the world, where England is like right on par with Maine. Which is not known for being boiling hot ever.
No.
But it is known for having freezing cold winters.
Yes.
But England's not known for having freezing cold winters. I think you might get snow there, but I don't think that you get like, you're going to die because it's minus 30 outside. But then England's actually pretty low down in Europe. So you go to where we're going, the Netherlands and Denmark and Sweden and Finland, and that's like up near Alaska. So I'm always confused.
Well, very cold in Australia. We were just talking to our son. He's in Chile. Winter. And it's turning into winter. And he had a cute little knitted Chilean cap that says Chile. And it was funny because, the banded sweaters that are knitted and they have the different designs on his had llamas. So that was very cute, very cute. All right. Welcome everyone who is joining from all around the world. El Paso, Texas, not too far south of us anymore. When it was in Houston, it was way the heck to the west of us. Now it's 5-6 hours south. But anyway, all right. So we're going to talk about today's topic. Today
it's 51% humidity in Houston. And she was the one saying it was ever sweltering. We're not at 80. We're only like at 64.
No, it's great. The rain finally stopped, which was good. But anyway, so today's topic is how to stretch our budget when we're trying to do genealogy research. And I have a few ideas, and some people have already dropped some of their ideas in the comments. So today is about sharing, because sharing is caring. I don't know what company or people say that, but sharing is caring. So we're going to borrow that phrase. I have a couple of ideas. Andy hopefully has a couple ideas, especially from the genealogy realm. And then obviously you guys have them. And then throughout the presentation, if you guys have a random question you want to throw in, make sure you put a Q in front of it so that we know it's not a comment, it is a question. And we will put those in. Today's topic questions are going to be genealogy focused because I've been traveling so much and Andy wants a small break from DNA questions, if you don't mind. So keep them to research, writing, organizing, preserving, anything in that realm, to give them a little bit of grace. And as a thank you for filling in while I've been traveling with band and swimming and all of the stuff. And in a few weeks, we'll be going to the Netherlands and other places like that. And so with that all set up, I want to share with you very quickly. A few people commented. I need to remove that. Share screen. Which one? It's that one, right? Yeah. All right. So a few people commented on our community tab, and they had a couple ideas. So Susan said, use the library to access online newspapers and local resources. I'm guessing this is a public library. There are a lot of different libraries that you can use. And one of my favorite places to recommend people. Okay, that was fun.
We're having all sorts of glitches right here. Give this video a thumbs up, no matter how bad it is. Thanks, Charles.
Thank you so much.
Okay, do you want to try to go back to whatever you were going to do again?
Well, yeah. So I was just going to say that one of my favorite libraries to go to, and the way I say libraries, it's more a place to meet up with volunteers and have access to premium websites for free, and that is to family search centers. Now, they were formerly called family history centers, and it's more than just the one in Salt Lake. So, for instance, Andy and I manage the Los Alamos Family History Center, which is now the Los Alamos Family Search Center. It's going to take a little while to make that switch. But if you have one nearby, then go in there. There's volunteers who would love to have you come and ask questions and use the premium websites. I've been using newspaper archives over at the Family Search Center and finding a number of articles about my Townley and my Peak ancestors from Cincinnati, as well as from Kentucky. So it is a great resource. So
I want to follow up on Susan's.
Yeah, for sure.
Not just
let me see if I can switch. Okay.
Not just going to the library to access, because many of the public libraries have access to lots of different websites and that, but check on your library's webpage.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are some that have access to websites that you just need to put in your library card number, and you can access it from home.
True. There's a lot of different libraries, affiliate libraries in the UK. Awesome. Thanks for that tip, Karen. Much appreciated. And I think there was Stacy had commented she uses her public library whenever she can. They have a lot more resources than people tend to give them credit for. So if you are a librarian and you're watching this live or watching a replay and you can attest to those type of sources, give a shout out to the branch that you serve and then tell us one of the things people are overutilizing.
Go back to
Underutilizing.
Diane Rogers. Yep. That's the same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, there are some public libraries and a lot of society libraries. Because we were helping Humble when they were building their new library to get this, that they are affiliate libraries of Family Search, which means they have access to all the stuff that Family Search has access to at any of their Family Search centers. And so you might check with your library, check with your society. And I would say this, if your public library is not, or if your local society is not, then see about becoming one, because I don't think it costs anything. And it basically all it is doing is giving you access to more resources. For sure.
And I'm going to go ahead and take my hearing aids out. They're starting to act up. The batteries are working, but something happened. I think there's all kinds of electricity chargy stuff going on.
Aliens.
We're
being invaded right over Los Alamos.
Maybe, I don't know, but my hearing aids are acting up. Anyway, so Mona had a great tip. Don't forget the Library of Congress online. You have the Digital Public Library of America. If you are from someplace not in the United States and you know of libraries or archives like that online in your country, be sure to drop that out. If you're watching in the chat, put it at live, put it in the chat. If you're watching a replay, put it in the comments.
So real quick, grab Robin's comment. Nope, Robin's first.
Robin.
So there's another one in Texas. The Portal of Texas History is free and searchable. Yep. And there's a sister site for Oklahoma. I did not know that, but now I do. And then Ribble Gibbles.
Yes.
So this is one that I didn't know anything about because I don't live in the UK. But if you book nights or even just have a coffee at a YHA, the British Newspaper Archive is free on their Wi-Fi address.
That is way cool.
So if you need to access the British Newspaper Archive, just go to a YHA, have a coffee, and access what you need. That is pretty neat.
I have a question. What if you're not a coffee drinker?
I'm betting that you can have a Sprite.
Okay. Or soda. Do they do lemonade?
I'm guessing is so the Youth
UK?
Hostel Association.
Hostel.
Obviously, hostel. I always say hostel. Hostel. But so obviously they have like rooms that you can sleep in, but it sounds like this is almost like it's like a Starbucks also as part of that hostel. We're not going to the UK, otherwise I might have to search that out.
Okay. So here's a question that I don't have an answer to because I am actually trying to get access to something. So how do you access digital resources from out-of-state libraries when we may not be able to get a library card? And I know that sometimes you can purchase one and it might be $60 to $80, and that could stretch your budget pretty thin. If anybody has answers, I want you to drop that in the chat. Yes.
I have an answer.
You're going to answer it?
And this is what I've noticed in the United States. Library cards never expire.
Oh, that's true.
And they never follow up on you. And so if you move, just keep your old library card just in case.
I know, but okay, here's my deal. All right.
I've lost so many library cards, but I remember accessing things from New York when we lived in Iowa with my New York library card. I remember accessing some stuff in South Carolina with my South Carolina library card.
Right.
I know I still have my Houston library card.
I still have my Houston libraries attached to my, not Hoopla, the other one, Libby Digital Library.
I take that back. I think the only library card in the U.S. that I know of that expires is the Library of Congress library card.
Oh, possibly, yeah. Okay, so here's my situation. So in Columbus, Ohio, they have the Columbus Dispatch newspapers digitized and searchable on their website. It is not available on Chronicling America, Newspapers Archive, Newspapers, the other one, .org, and it's not on Genealogy Bank. So the only place you can access online from Los Alamos to Columbus, Ohio is their Ohio Dispatch, but you need a library card. Now, I have family members in Ohio. I keep begging them for their library card number because I'm not going to check out any books. I just want to research our common family in the obituaries. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know the answer. Does anybody have an answer? Do you see anybody with an answer?
No, but apparently Louisiana library cards expire.
Oh, no. That's pretty sad.
Although Chris then says that he used his father's Haverhill library card from the 1960s. Yeah. What'd be pretty cool is if you kept on to this library card, for another 50 years or so, and then went and checked out a book on this library card that was issued 110 years ago.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Now, when you're talking about, where was that one question? Out of state. So there is the internet library loan system where you can go to WorldCat, and on WorldCat you can figure out, does a library have your book that you want? And then you can go to your local library and have them do an interlibrary loan and send that book to you if it's not a reference material that is not checkoutable. I don't know if that's a word. Anyway, I just made up a word. And so that's one way to get it. It's just digital resources that you tend not to be able to do something like that too. So anyway.
So real quick, while we're talking about libraries, highlight Mona's there.
Mona.
Yep. So Mona mentions that a lot of libraries have reciprocal agreements where if they don't necessarily have the book in the library, but it's in one of the other reciprocal libraries, you can get that book on interlibrary loan, which is another great way. And I think that usually costs you nothing.
There might be a small fee sometimes, but usually it's next to nothing.
So that's if your library has that, and any good library should, then you literally have access to all of the books in any of these libraries.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So there was something. I'm going to come back. So Andrea. There's so many ways to say that name. I'm going to come back to your question in a little bit. But do I need a Columbus library card or just an Ohio library card? I don't know. I think it's a Columbus library
card. Yeah,
because
and this is one thing that might be different. And the people from the UK, you can chime in here. I know that in most of the US, it is usually by county. Most of the libraries are run by the counties. Now, there might be some agreements between adjacent counties where you have like 5 or 6 counties that all share a library system. So it's usually going to be, what is Columbus County?
It's Franklin County.
Franklin County. You'd have a Franklin County library card, and that would allow you to access all of the libraries in Franklin County, and maybe even some of the libraries surrounding Franklin County.
Right. Yeah.
But it wouldn't allow you to go to Cincinnati necessarily and access their libraries.
I don't think so, but we can try.
So I'm not sure how that works in the UK for our viewers that are there, whether it's a single library card for the whole country, which would be awesome, or if it's broken up by counties or some other political district.
I don't know. Send me an email. We'll talk. And if any of you do have connections to Columbus, Franklin County, Ohio, and want to help me access that, I will promise I will not check out any books to your account. I will not give you any charges. I just want to search the Ohio Dispatch.
Okay, so Karen says that UK libraries are also by county or borough. So there's some political division.
Oh, okay, there we go. But you know what's interesting? So I had 4 hours to kill while I was at a swim meet in Albuquerque, and what are we going to do? Because we didn't need to shop, we didn't need to spend the money, we just needed to chill. So I was like, oh, let's go to the public library. Well, my kids were looking at books because they're going to put it back on the shelf, but I wanted to access the computer because we have this genealogy website. Anyway, so I went into the county and I said, hey, I would like to use the computer. They said, you need to have a library card. I'm like, oh, but I'm not from here. I'm from Los Alamos. No problem. Just fill out of the form. We'll give it to you for free. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, that's another thing I was thinking is there's some counties you don't necessarily have to be a resident there. But you have to have that county library card. So don't think that, okay, just because I don't live in this city, I can't get one. Ask them.
Yeah.
And the worst they can do is tell you, no, we're not going to give you a library card.
Yeah. And Andrea has a great idea. We need library buddies. We need genealogy library buddies where we go, hey, I need to log into Columbus Dispatch rather than, because I want to be able to do it at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep.
So this is unrelated, but related. So I just read that Netflix is implementing some software that it's not going to allow you and your family members to log into the same Netflix account, which is funny because that's actually how Netflix started, and they were encouraging people to share their Netflix passwords, and now they're like, nope, no more. So maybe if we get this library thing set up, then eventually libraries will catch on to it, and they're like, no more sharing library cards.
Well, but here, I mean, come on. I know I hate to burst everybody's bubble, but genealogy is not the second most searched for thing on the internet behind the chess pawns. All right. It is not.
And it's not like libraries are swimming in cash.
That is true.
So
that is true. And you're all right, Diane. Genealogy lookup things used to be a thing, and trading off would be really good. I just sometimes feel like I can't always contribute because I keep living in areas like Los Alamos. There's not a lot of lookups to do in Los Alamos, right? Because it's only been around since the 1940s. So anyway.
So here is something that actually for everybody, I think is good. New York City has a free electronic library card. And I know the New York City Public Library is like one of the largest libraries in the US.
Yes.
So that is something I might have to look into. And everybody else, you guys can look into that also, because if you can access the New York Public Library from anywhere.
Yeah, that would be great. Especially their electronic questions would be great. We could do
wait, for Brooklyn and New York Public Libraries, but it doesn't work for Queens or Staten Island. Well, that's okay. As long as the New York Public Library, the big one, is a part of it, then that's a good deal.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so we had some other ones. Here is a suggestion that Stacy had. I get an Ancestry gift membership to myself when they go on sale on Black Friday. Well, why does it have to be a gift membership? Is it cheaper that way? Like, you're going to need to explain it a little bit more. But several people have mentioned wait for sales, particularly around Black Friday, for those that are membership-based program. And the one thing I was going to say is that being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can really help stretch your budget because you do have partner access to family. Well, of course, everybody has free access to Family Search, but Find My Past, My Heritage, and Ancestry. And then you go to the Family Search Library and have access to all of these premium websites. But I do remember that what I would do is I would say, honey, for Christmas this year, I want an Ancestry subscription. And then I would go crazy on Ancestry for a year. And then the next year I would say, all right, honey, I want a newspaper membership. And then I would use that for a year. And then the next year I would do My Heritage. And because your account doesn't delete when your subscription ends, when you come back after a cycle, then you have more hints, you have more tools, you have more features and stuff. You just have to be patient.
So Stacy then says the gift memberships don't automatically renew.
Oh.
So it is a nice way to get what you want without having to worry about canceling it later.
Oh, yeah, because I've had that problem. That's a great tip. I love it. I love it. A deal for 3-month Ancestry membership for $1. Cool. Okay, so we have this Genealogy Discord. Now, I don't like Discord for some personal reasons, but if you ascertain when we are all finished, if you will put information about Genealogy Discord into the main comments so people can find out about that later, that'd be great. If it doesn't post, sometimes you can't post a link, then send me an email and then I'll put that on there too. So that's really great. Being able to notify people when there are various deals going on is always helpful. Does Genealogy Bargain always do that, or has he stopped doing that?
I don't know. I haven't seen much from him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If you have other groups that you know that tell people when deals are going on, let me know. I do know that My Heritage for Memorial Day weekend here in the United States, they're having free access to military records. Now, I don't know if that's worldwide, like, hey, U.S. holiday, everybody gets access to military records, but I do know there will be different holiday weekends where certain collections on certain websites will become free to use.
So I got a question, I guess, for our UK people, and that has to do probably more with Find My Past, is do they run freebies on the British holidays?
I don't know.
Because I know,
or the Canadians on Canadian holidays.
I know that I have seen throughout the year here in the United States, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, they're usually the ones that deal more with military records, offer those for free for like the weekend. But I've also seen stuff on the 4th of July. I've seen stuff on Labor Day. What other holidays have I seen stuff where they've had sales free access?
Did you mention the Canadian Thanksgiving? They'll have something.
Do
sometimes.
they?
Sometime.
Okay.
Oh, Canada Day.
Well, that's different. Oh, Canada Day and Canadian Thanksgiving is different.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I was blending them in together. But I know that I've seen some deals.
I don't think it's called Oh Canada Day. I think it's just Canada Day.
Valentine's Day, that's a more universal one for marriage records. I've seen that a lot. Mother's Day, I don't know what they put out for Mother's Days. And so, yes, they do have some freebies sometimes.
Okay, good.
Okay, awesome. But get involved in the genealogy community so you can see some money-saving tips.
I'm going to have to look for those freebies for the UK because I never thought about, hey, when does the UK have freebies? Since we don't celebrate the holidays, so it's never on my calendar to worry about. So I'm going to have to figure out when those freebies are.
Okay, so this one had a lot of going on here, but the one thing I did like is I contacted relatives and swapped information for free. And leveraging the power of fellow genealogists is always a frugal genealogist's best friend. Now, granted, if they give you a database or they give you their research, you want to validate it. But if they're giving you access to photos and stories and photos of memorabilia and things of that nature, that is always a great tip. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm trying to see what other comments. Okay, lots of different. Fold 3 has military records on holidays like Memorial Days. Ancestry is having a 40% off of a 6-month subscription, ends at midnight on what day?
In 3 days.
In 3 days. So get after it.
On Memorial Day.
On Memorial Day. There you go.
The 30th is Tuesday and the 31st is Wednesday. Yeah.
And then DNA sells, or Mother's Day and Father's Day sells for sure. So we're going to come back to talking about DNA ways in a moment. Here was one. Now, this is a fantastic point. I consider time to have a lot of value, so I'm always delighted when I can do my research from my home and not incur the cost of travel. So yes, sometimes when we think about being frugal, we only think about free websites or low-cost websites. And then we don't necessarily think, oh, wow, that's really an expensive subscription, because we look at what's on our bank account statements or our credit card statement. And in actuality, free doesn't always mean better. Free doesn't mean saving time. A number of websites are worth their price because they have better search engines or they have better access, or it's just easier to get at. But again, you mentioned the part of travel. So sometimes being able to do it in your jammies at 2 a.m. is actually a part of frugality. Did you want to say anything about that?
Well, no, I just heard a noise, and since we're having all sorts of weird things going on, I'm wondering if our computer's about to die.
Oh, our computer has been talking lately.
Okay. It's like whirring, like...
Yeah, it gets really loud, and I'm like, oh, we might have to swap out Gamer. But anyway.
That thing's like 6-7 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a while.
Okay. Just making sure. But
so... what do you guys think? Respond to Stacy. Is this a frugal tip or a budget stretching tip? It's having your place in multiple places so that you have different ways to access it and different collections to access. I think that's a great tip. Would you have any thoughts on that one?
No, I was laughing at Bentley Drummel's comment.
Oh, okay.
In the UK, we only get free stuff on the 30th of February.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, so Diane had a tip. In Canada, library access to paid genealogy sites varies. Getting support from a number of community groups sometimes might convince librarians to pay for these resources. So yeah, if you don't use it, people will not spend money on it. And that's the same goes for those family history centers. If you don't use it, they will be taken away, most likely. And so go participate. And if you can't go because of health reasons or whatever, tell a friend, tell a community member. So, everybody who has contact in Los Alamos, tell everybody in our community to come visit us. We're trying to get the word out and it's not working. But the family search centers probably also in your neighborhood, or the libraries with genealogy connections or genealogy societies help get the word out. Otherwise, they will cease to exist. Okay, other thoughts?
No, do Diane.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and read that one.
So, being organized helps take full advantage of free genealogy site days or short subscriptions. Yes, because... Like I said, once a lot of these happen on regular occasions, like Fold 3 with military records. Think of Memorial Day and Veterans Day. They're usually offering those. So if you aren't in those records all the time, well, then just start making a list of what you need to look up and make sure you have it on your calendar, some time blocked off to get on to Fold 3 to do that, or other things. And then she says short subscriptions. So I'm guessing things here like the month or even the 3-month subscriptions, where once again, it's getting organized beforehand to know what you're going to do. So think of it, I guess, this way. For those of you who have taken a trip to Salt Lake City in the past, back when we just did microfilm, one of the things that you would do is you would figure out what microfilms you want to be looking at. You'd have a list of stuff so that you could go and spend your time wisely. And now you might look at other stuff in the process, but you did a lot of preparation for that. And so I think this is the same way, except now you're just doing it for online stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then if you do get to take travel, you can take advantage of what's available ahead of time, and you'll have different records online than what's in person. So being organized. Now, I do have a money-saving tip when it comes to organizing your genealogy research. First of all, is Roots Magic has Roots Magic Essentials, which is free. So it is a database program where you can organize all of your content into a software and take advantage of that. And a lot of the features that you're going to want to have are in that free genealogy database. And then you can also wait for sales on Roots Magic to upgrade to a full-blown subscription. And that's all I'm going to say about that. There's some other debates going on, but there's that. The other thing is, if you're looking for some file folders, or if you're looking for cabinets or something, be like Andy and go do garage selling, because there are times when there will be free boxes of file folders because people don't need them anymore, and you can grab them there. There might be some swap and shares. It all depends. Sometimes there's these places where free cycle file folders. People just want to get rid of it and they don't necessarily want to put it in the recycling bin. So that's a what am I saying? My brain just
money saving tip.
Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I was trying to say. And it went whoop. Okay. How to access digital research for we already did that one. Who did that one? Cite sources from a library. I know you can add a source to Ancestry. Okay. Citing sources is a longer topic, and I do have a number of videos here on the Family History Fanatics YouTube channel. There is even a playlist, I believe, about citations. So citations in Roots Magic, citations in Ancestry, citations in general, using Goldie May if you're online. Site Builder, what I just talked about. The question really because you say, can you take a photo? Photo restrictions are all, if you're in person in a library, it is all dependent on the rules of those libraries. I know the first time I went to the Columbus Archive, the State Archive in Columbus, Ohio, they had some photo restrictions. And after that, they're like, yeah, just take a picture. We don't care. They kind of relax things. So that is kind of independent. But the citing of the sources, I am going to tell you, my favorite tip for citing sources is to leverage citation forms. So the ones that you'll find on Site Builder, they have a free version, another money-saving tip. They have a free version and they have a premium version. The free version just gets you the citation, and then you go put it into your research plan, your research report, and so on and so forth. If you're going to have the paid version, you can save those citation templates right there in your program. And Roots Magic, they have templates. Use the templates. I have a video about the templates. Ancestry kind of has some templates. They're not always great, but they're there for offline resources, which I created a video about. Family Search, I still need to do a video about how to use their citation forms, but they're relatively self-explanatory there as well. So can you take a picture? That's independent. How do I cite my sources? I'm always going to say use a form. It's not always everybody's favorite answer, but that's mine because that saved me a ton of time. Okay, any more? Have you been starring things in here?
Oh, no, but that's okay. You got to get through the list before you can get back to others.
Okay. So there's a couple of them. I use Ancestry as I only have I use the free features. And then there's another one that says Ancestry has free collections. Find My Past has free collections. I think My Heritage has a free some as well. I did make a video here on Ancestry free collections. We've been doing this for a while. I keep saying, I have a video about that. I have a video about that. Yes, I probably have a video about a lot of things. So there are a number of free collections, but Family Search is free and it has a ton of collections as well. But so does your state archive. So does a number of historical collections you just get to know all of those online tools and searches. And I have videos about that as well. Okay, let's go to this one about Linda Bright. Okay, so Linda had said Genealogy Do-Over gives notices of freebies offered too. Now, you're going to have to help me out, Linda. What freebies do you mean? Do you mean like guides? Do you mean collections? Like, be a little more specific. But someone else in the chat who's new, and I hope that you guys have been helping each other out. What is the Genealogy Do-Over? Now, this is a program or a process that Thomas McKenty advocates. And many of us have been doing genealogy for a while. And sometimes our databases get to be a big old mess. And on this channel, guess what? I have videos about how to clean up your family tree, and particularly place names. I'm the only one that told you how to do all of that. And then just different things you could do to clean up your family search, family tree, this, that, or the other. But sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you really need to go back to the beginning and prove all the relationships, generation to generation, one by one. And that's the genealogy do-over. You basically start from a blank database and build from there. And it's actually really great to reprove your strategies, to throw out your assumptions and start over and say, can I make this case make sense? And so that's there. And I think the genealogy do-over email list is also free. So that's kind of nice.
I'm sorry, I was starring now because you told me I had the star stuff.
You have to star stuff. All right. There's a genealogy club in Cincy, Arizona, has free access to Ancestry included in a membership. Oh, very good. So that's another maybe money saving tip, is that sometimes if you join a society or an archive or a research group and stuff, they will have discounts or free memberships as part of that. So you pay one price to get access to a whole lot of things. Great point. And then sometimes the clubs will also have free training and webinars and guest speakers come out. So be sure to check that out. Diane, if you belong to a genealogy group, and I think that's worth spending money on if you must, your group might set up a lookup list and maybe a swap table at meetings for useful genealogy things. Yes, I was at the Anchorage, Alaska genealogy meeting when I got to go to our Anchorage, Alaska. It was so fun.
Oh, just to add on to that, there was a newspaper article this week about some guy who died in the mudflats in Alaska.
Oh, okay. That's a side topic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry.
So
I just remember that because she told me about it. I'm like, okay, I guess that happens.
That's another topic for another day. Anyway, so when I was at the Anchorage, Alaska Genealogical Society meeting, there was a whole table of free things to give away, magazines that people no longer read. They had the file folders, they had binders, they had all kinds of things like that. So, going to those genealogy conferences, if you happen to organize a genealogy conference that's in person, see if you can have a swap table as part of that. And that is really, really helpful. Okay. Is a newspaper subscription. You're my favorite person. I love newspapers. But I will tell you my very favorite one to use first. And yes, this is US biased, even though they do have international papers. Newspapers.com, even if you have it separate from Ancestry, I think it's worth the money. And then after that, I would do a year with Genealogy Bank because they have some different platforms. But now that I can get newspapers archive at the Family Search Center, I wouldn't spend money on it because it keeps crashing. And I don't know if it's the Family Search Center or the website itself, but I keep going multiple times. Like, it's been crashing every week for the last 2 months when I've been playing with that website. So I don't know what the deal is. But there's American Ancestors. American Ancestors is great for New England research. You can access that from a Family Search Center. And for me, one of the reasons why I like going to a Family Search Center and trying them out is to see if you're going to have a lot of success. And then if it is going to be successful, then I loop it into my budget of whether I'm going to spend money on it. Right now, I don't have a lot of New England ancestors. I have maybe one, and I had a hit. Well, that was worth taking a trip to a Family Search Center rather than purchasing American Ancestors. But if you do have New England ancestors, that might be like a go-to resource, and you try it out at a Family Search Center or genealogy library and go, well, yeah, I'm in this a lot. Then go ahead and upgrade and get a membership. So that's a way to be frugal. Okay. Time for you to jump in here, mister. What other tips have people who've been sharing?
Starred one.
I have a starred one. Okay, you get to say that one.
All right. I have a fake spouse tip on Ancestry, whereby I add a DNA cousin match as a fake spouse. I add their visible tree and then follow potential parent prompts until I find common DNA ancestry and merge them. So,
I don't understand.
So I think what it is you've got to have to be able to see their visible tree or to be able to add their visible tree to yours.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have them connected in some way from the DNA. And so that's why she's saying she adds a DNA cousin as a spouse to her.
Okay. So is this taking advantage of 2 Ancestry accounts?
Yes, you're taking advantage of your account plus your DNA cousin's account.
Okay.
And because the cousin is now a fake spouse and it's connected to you, you're basically fooling the search algorithm. No, I understand what she's saying. You're fooling the computer because the computer will go through spouses for different things. And, if you're having those trees, then it allows you to basically utilize these 2 accounts at once for the common ancestor.
If that makes sense to you, go for it. I'm probably going to have to replay this video to go, what? Draw it out for me. Sorry. All right. So now I wanted to show a couple unusual ways to do research, or do we want to do the DNA?
No, you can do
the uncommon.
Okay. That's what this was all about.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Now, here are some that maybe some of you hadn't thought about before.
You got to share.
I know. I'm making it big first so they can actually read it. There we go. And now that it is legible, then I go share. Yay, share. Okay. So let me know if some of you have thought of this. Somebody just helped me out. It sounds like a quick and dirty tree and should be a floating tree, not a spouse, though I can see that making them a spouse with me, you wouldn't lose them. Let's see.
Now you have sound.
Now I have sound?
Yes, because you were muted.
Okay, that sound.
Because when this restarts, it's on.
Oh, mute. Goodness gracious. Are you kidding me? Now I have sound? Now we have sound. I just heard that we have sound. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the party. All right. So we say the quick and dirty tree, which had mentioned that. And we are back. Thank you guys for your patience. I do appreciate that. All right. So where were we? We were going to do the uncommon ways to frugally share your hide current comment, share screen. Let's see if it goes out again. I was just about to do this and it went. All right. So uncommon ways to frugally do research. The first one on this list is to utilize local historical reenactments. Now, what can you gain from the local historical reenactments, Andy?
Well, you gain obviously a sense of history. Mm-hmm. You get to hopefully see some authentic clothing or what they're doing and things like this. But the other thing that I remember, the one that we went to in South Carolina, is you got to see the scale of the battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't just this, but it's like, oh, so this is happening here. And there's this little swamp thing right here they have to go through or go around and different things like that. And I'm not sure if this is a strictly a U.S. thing, or
I don't know
if they do historical reenactments in Canada or in the U.K. Primarily in the U.S., it is Civil War reenactments and Revolutionary War reenactments.
Well, but then there also will have reenactments on plantations where people will research the lives of those who were enslaved and portray those individuals as well. There's a quasi reenactments that are in some church historical sites as well. So let us know, are there reenactments all around the country? Is this just the United States thing? I'd love to know. But one of the things that I remember, particularly when we were in Iowa, and there was a gentleman that came to the library. It was the local history museum, and they were doing a Civil War day. And this gentleman had researched the lives of a Union medical doctor, and he had his medical kit. And then he told us all about the different medicinal practices that they did in the military, and then he had all the tools out, and we had to tell the kids to look with their eyes and not with their hands. But it was really great because this reenactor, and many of them, will try to thoroughly research the person they're portraying. So they've kind of done the research for you, and then you can absorb that history, and if it happens to be your relative, all the better.
Well, and what I remember of this is really good because you had a relative who was in the Civil War and was blinded or something like that.
Yes.
And as this guy was talking about the different treatments, basically it was, yeah, if you do this right, it might help. But if you don't do it right, you're going to, go blind, or you're going to die, or you're going to have this. Like, there's lots of bad things that would happen from the medicine back there, to where when you hear about in the Civil War, amputations, all these amputations, that was actually probably one of the safest things that they were doing.
Saw it up, sift it up, instead of the laceration of the eyes to try to drain the mumps. So Cosmic Slice says in Canada, not many, unless it's the War of 1812. Diane seems to agree. We have some, but it's mostly Vikings.
No, including Vikings.
Including Vikings. I'm sorry. In the UK, they have some, but not many. Oh, you know what? I kind of smished Karen and Diane together just because when I read them, I was like, we have some, but not many. And then the other ones, we have some. Okay, sorry, my bad. I know what that's going. Highland Games. Okay. Everyday life looks like a historical reading. That's not always bad.
My favorite little town in England is a town called Lavenham, I think. And it's the Crooked Town.
The Crooked Town! Because, I love Crooked Town.
It's all the wattle and daub. All the buildings are the wattle and daub. Uh-huh. And they're all like crooked looking, like, and they're all like 400 or 500 years old too, or 600 or 800. I don't know how old they are. But it just looks like this town is, about to fall over in various places because of how crooked everything looks. And it's just charming. And that's probably the way it's been for hundreds of years.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So then there's another one that I thought of. This was a really, uncommon, right? Participate in ancestral home exchanges. Exchange a home with individuals living in your ancestral homeland to immerse yourself in the culture and history of your ancestors. I don't know if that's like Airbnb or something else. I mean, if it's an Airbnb, sure, that sounds awesome. But if it's just exchanging people's home, like in that movie that Jack Black and
The
Holiday, where
I didn't even watch the rest.
It was a weird movie. So anyway, if anybody remembers what I'm trying to hint at, oh gosh. Yeah, so that was an unusual one. And I did say it's uncommon to be sure. Visit living history museums. Utilize Genealogy podcast and YouTube channels. Education on a great budget. And then here's another one. I have seen this before. And if you guys know of the programs that do these various scholarships and grants, let me know and put those in the comment section, especially if you're watching a replay. But get maybe a grant or a scholarship to fund your research expenses or going to a conference or taking DNA test. Another kind of grant scholarship that I think of is the MyHeritage Quest program, where they're in their third year and the applications may be closed right now. But for adoptees, you apply, and if you're selected, then they will provide your DNA test to help you try to connect with your birth family. So that was an unusual one I hadn't thought of before. Okay. What YouTube channels can we go to? Genealoggers. Yeah, you're smiling. And this one, I don't know. Is it better than okay? You guys let me know. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? If you haven't subscribed, it is time for you to subscribe. We are close to 100,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone for two yokels in their spare bedroom creating videos. So if you haven't subscribed, please